Here we are in section 5-6. Let's take a look at a couple examples. First one, number 15. Notice that we have a number in the a position in front of the x squared, so my factoring is going to be to multiply a times c and find the factors of 15 that add up to 16, and I pick 1 and 15. So I'm going to replace my middle terms with 1x and 15x. And then I'm going to factor by grouping. Greatest common factor of my first group is x, leaving me with 5x plus 1. Greatest common factor of my second grouping is 3, leaving me with 5x plus 1. So we can regroup that as 5x plus 1 times x plus 3. Number 16, it says 3x squared plus 8x plus 4. Again, first thing we check for is greatest common factor. Since there isn't one, we're going to multiply a times c, giving me 12. Factors of 12 that add up to 8 are 6 and 2. So I replace my middle terms with 6x and 2x. And then I factor it by grouping the first two together, grouping the second two together. 3x is my greatest common factor, leaving me with x plus 2. 2 is my greatest common factor in the second grouping, leaving me with x plus 2. Rewriting my grouping, I get x plus 2 times 3x plus 2. For number 17, it's going to be the very same thing as the previous two. Same with 18. Again, they're the same. So let's move on to question 21. It says 4x squared minus 12x plus 9. When I factor this one, similar to the last one, but we're going to have a little different result. If I multiply, I get 36. Notice that this time I'm looking for factors of 36 that add up to negative 12. So we know that since negative times negative is positive and a negative plus a negative is negative, I'm going to pick negative 6 and negative 6. They add up to negative 12. They multiply to 36. So I'm going to replace my middle term with negative 6x and negative 6x plus 9. Factor it by grouping. Remember to bring that negative in on that term. Put a plus between them. Greatest common factor is 2x, leaving me with 2x minus 3. Greatest common factor is a negative 3. Remember, 95% of the time, if your third term is negative, you're pulling it out. And I get 2x minus 3. Rewriting, I get 2x minus 3 times 2x minus 3. Notice that they're the same. So to write it more simply, we would write 2x minus 3 squared, because there are two factors of 2x minus 3. And let's look at number 22. We have 25x squared minus 30x plus 9. If I multiply, I get 225. My factors of 225 that add up to negative 30, going to have to make my list. I know they're both going to be negative because they're multiplying to give you a positive, adding to give you a negative. So we'll try things like, oh boy, let's go with negative 5 and negative 45. That doesn't work. So let's go straight to negative 15 and negative 15. Oh, that one works. So then I'm going to replace my middle terms with negative 15x and negative 15x plus 9. And then we're going to do it by grouping. Make sure you bring that negative in on the third term. Make it positive between there. Greatest common factor is going to be 5x, leaving me with 5x minus 3. Greatest common factor is going to be a negative 3, leaving me with 5x minus 3. And I regroup that. And similar to the last example, this one also has two of the same factors. So we're going to, again, write it as 5x minus 3 squared. And the last one we're going to do is question 25. It says 3y to the fourth minus y cubed minus 10y squared. Well, the very first thing that we look for when we're factoring is a greatest common factor. And if I pull out a y squared, I'm left with 3y squared minus y minus 10. If I multiply my a and my c, I get negative 30. Factors of negative 30 that add up to negative 1 would be a negative 6 and a positive 5. I'm going to circle this, make sure I bring it down on my answer, and I'm going to split my middle term into negative 6y plus 5y minus 10. Group the first two together, group the second two together. Since this is a positive, just leave it in front. 3y, greatest common factor, leaving me with y minus 2. Greatest common factor, my second one is 5, leaving me with y minus 2. And regrouping, I get y minus 2 times 3y plus 5. And don't forget to bring your greatest common factor down. So y squared goes out front. All right, hope you enjoy.